Hi there, gang, and welcome to episode 13. See, this is the way it's going to be. This is the way it's going to be today. Weird things are going to happen. It's episode 13.
13, the lucky one, or is that 7?
Well, no, here's the thing. I was born on Friday the 13th.
Weird.
No, awesome. Friday the 13th, it's always been my lucky number. So my theory is this show is going to be even more awesomer.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go with that. Aside from the fact that something like behind Colby is just going to start on fire at some point, but we'll dive into that later.
I'm planning to start that fire personally. I don't know how you found that out, but
Colby Campbell is with us all the way from Des Moines. We're going to get to you in a whole bunch more detail in a second. First thing I want to tell you right now, registration is open at OurStressFreeWedding.com for our first official Our Stress-Free Wedding show.
Absolutely.
I'm so excited about this.
And what do they have to do? Just go to the website?
All you got to do, just register like you normally would on the platform. So if you go there, you can register on the platform, and there's a little drop-down box, and you just choose WCC, which is the Waterloo Convention Center. That's where the show is going to be on November 20th, Waterloo Convention Center. Our goal is 50, 60 vendors. Is what we're shooting for.
All exclusive to OSF?
All exclusive to Our Stress-Free Wedding. That's the best part about the whole thing is that, you know, if you're planning your wedding right now and you've gone to wedding shows, I'm sure, you know, everybody always gets that same look on their face. It's that overwhelmed, oh, yeah, you're just, because you're so inundated with all that stuff. And in the back of your mind, you are thinking, I hope these guys don't suck, which I think I say at every show. But it's true. That's the main kind of gist of what we're doing is trying to remove that factor of, gosh, I hope they don't suck, because anybody can look nice at a wedding show. Anybody can build a nice website and, you know, have 10 friends. I know of a DJ service right here in the great state of Iowa that 40% of their views or of their reviews are false, because they had their friends do it. And I'm not going to mention who they are. I'm not going to give any kind of press for it. But I know it's out there, and it's not hard to do. And that's kind of the crappy thing, is that it's not hard to do. You can fake it. So what we're doing with the Our Stress-Free Wedding show, we're going to have to shorten that at some point. It's going to look big on a banner.
Really rolls off the tongue.
Right. It does kind of roll. It does. But what we're doing with this is that every one of the professionals that are going to be at the show is someone who's on the platform. And the only way that we allow someone onto the platform, if you're in the wedding industry, is if you make it kind of through our vetting process. And as we're expanding and as we're growing, I think it's kind of neat, because the level of research that we're capable of doing as we bring more people onto the staff, as we bring more vendors onto the platform, now we can not only verify it through our connections and through our experience, we can stretch out farther. You know, we can contact someone like Colby. If we find a caterer in the Des Moines area, you're in the Des Moines market, we find a caterer or a venue or something like that, we can give you a call and, hey, if you work there, and if you have, you know, how do you feel about them? And since you're on the platform, we already know you're awesome at what you do. Your opinion adds that much more weight to the validity of the quality of the next vendor that we're looking at bringing on board.
It's a small world.
Absolutely. And the best thing about, I'm going to turn you up a little bit there, my friend. Let me bring you up a little bit more. So, you know, the best thing about that is it becomes kind of a peer review system, which makes it so much stronger across the board. So, you know, if we've got a photographer that we already know kicks ass in Des Moines, he's great at what he does, and we can verify that. You know, we've got a couple DJs in the Des Moines market, and, you know, we are, let's say, we're researching a venue. And I call Colby, and he's like, yep, been there. And we talked to, you know, maybe Dennis from DJ Das Entertainment, who's one of the best DJs in the state of Iowa. Have you worked with him?
Yes.
He is so good.
He's so good.
I want to get him on the show. He's just so flippin' busy. I can't get him pinned down, but I'm going to get him on the show. You know, but we can reach out and we can talk about that particular venue. and find out, beyond just our research, if you guys would think it's someone that we want to welcome, kind of welcome to the family kind of a thing, go all mafia on them. And now you're in the family. And that makes a huge difference. So this show coming up on November 20th, you can register for at ourstressfreewedding.com. If you've never registered on the platform before, just go to the registration. We're not going to barrage you with emails. We're not going to stalk you. We're not going to sell any of your information. We're not going to do anything more than welcome you to what we have to offer. And once you're registered, you can check out all of the amazing vendors that we have on the platform. Actually, you can do that without registering.
Yeah.
But now we have incentive for you to register. Now you can register for the show. And if you don't want to do that and you just want to come to the show, you can actually register live at the show as well. So we're going to make things super easy on that. Kind of a little teaser, something that we're going to do. This is we've been in the works now for a couple months. We're building into of your welcome package when you come to the show a digital brochure, kind of a digital ebook, like a little simple book, and in there is going to have some just kind of neat wedding tips, some stress-free tips, we can put it that way, some downloadable stuff, maybe some general timelines, some basic stuff like that. But then I'm also going to have all of the vendors that are at the show, all of their contact information through Our Stress-Free Wedding, so direct links to their listing, so you can reach out and you can contact them after the show. You can follow up with questions if you want to. It's a matter of click and go, and some surprises that are going to be thrown in on top of that. So it's going to be super. I'm really excited.
It's exciting.
I get all jittery about it.
It's nice when stuff is seamless.
Hopefully, in theory,
You sign up, you show up, you get what you need.
Yeah,
it's seamless.
Well, you've done wedding shows. You know how stressful it can be for couples coming through, and they do. They all have
as a couple and as a vendor. Yeah, absolutely.
Right,
yeah.
right. When you were going through the planning process,
100%.
it's overwhelming, and I know I've said this a million times. When you first get engaged, when a couple first gets engaged, one of the biggest ironies, contradiction, what's the right word? You're smarter than me. One of the biggest things that just blows my mind is that instantly, overnight, from the day you get engaged, or at least from day one of planning, you, with no experience, suddenly have to become an expert in planning what is literally the biggest day of your life.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And there's so many moving parts and there's so many things that's going on. And our central theme about all of that with ourstressfreewedding.com is if you have the right professionals, you find your right photographer, you find your right DJ, you find the right videographer, you find the right venue, wedding coordinator. Like next episode coming up, we've got a wedding coordinator, Carolyn from CM Planning, is going to be on. She's actually based out of Chicago, and she still services the Iowa area. It's going to be awesome. But when you have the right vendors, all of those fears, let's not say all, it's grandiose. 95%, honestly, really, 95% of your fears can be eliminated. Because if you let the experts do what the experts know, you don't have to worry about that. Like, for example, I own a DJ service. So as the DJ service, what I always tell couples, like what I always tell our clients is we will defer kind of automatically to the photographer's timeline, because your timeline is crucial. Yep. If we had a timeline as the DJ and we say, first dance is at 7:30, okay. Well, you come up to us at 7:28 and you're like, hey, I'm going to grab the couple because it's a beautiful sunset. We've got this perfect setting. I'm going to take them and go do pictures. There's not a single DJ that works for me that's going to say,
nope.
Exactly.
Sean said at 7:30 first dances. Sorry.
The paper here says.
Right.
And that's when I, as a photographer, get in a fight with your DJ.
That's when things get real.
Yeah. I will not. I don't fight. I want to put it on the record. I do not fight wedding vendors.
We talked about live streaming some things, right?
Yeah.
DJ versus photographer, pay-per-view.
There you go. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. DJs have heavier equipment, though, so.
Epic vendor battles of history. Photographer, DJ.
Ding, ding, ding.
It could be fun. So we are talking to Colby Campbell Photography. This is Colby. He is based in Des Moines, went to school up here at UNI, and you and Andrew have some history.
A little bit.
Paths a couple of times.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. So how did you guys meet? How do you guys know each other? Like just random occurrences at the only two people at UNI, or how did that work?
We were both associated with the athletic department at UNI.
The historic matchmaking abilities of UNI athletics.
Starting quarterback, starting receiver.
Bringing people together since 1876, I think.
And I was a part of a group. It's now called Panther Mayhem. At the time, it was Panther Pep Crew. Basically, we were running the student section, but we also helped out with game day promotions and like if they needed like, oh, hey, we need this recliner at half court for a halftime giveaway. We were the people who went out and got it and brought it out there.
Were you one of the guys in the bibs?
Yeah.
Okay.
You noticed.
I did notice. I didn't go to UNI. I went to college in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, and for the record was...
You probably saw me on like World's Dumbest or
don't
something.
remember any of it. You were the reason that everybody watched UNI athletics. I remember that.
No.
Yeah,
Awesome. Besides, that game they beat Kansas and they were decent at sports, but
well, they did the sports ball thing and everything was cool from there.
There was that one time.
Yeah.
There was that one singular time.
But Colby, you were in pep band, right?
I was in the pep band
and
That's where it
slapping the
started.
bass.
Slapping the bass of the pep band.
And
yep.
so we were kind of side by side with each other, and I mean we'd have to coordinate things like, hey, you're gonna play our song, and then hey, we're gonna do this chant, cheer.
We'll play music.
Thing.
You scream at the top of your lungs.
Yeah, that's basically how it went.
It's a very symbiotic relationship. They go hand in hand.
This sounds very complex.
It's a science, is what it is. So, I mean, and it is though. I joke about that, but getting a crowd hyped is a science, and it's an art of knowing how people think, knowing how people react to things, and knowing like how to like pump up a crowd. So the other reason that we know each other is I was a mascot. I was TC while I was at UNI.
No, really?
Yeah, for several years, and so it's very much an overlap with Panther Pep Crew, Panther Mayhem, getting crowds pumped.
That's kind of cool in
itself.
itself.
During timeouts, yep, all that kind of stuff.
I love that.
I never ever believed that there was someone inside that costume. I always thought TC was a real Panther.
Well, duh.
You have to. It's like
He
believing
is.
in
Childhood dreams crushed. Yo, we should have done a warning to parents. Parents, don't let your kids watch it. Too late.
It's too late. Yeah.
Next, you're gonna tell me there's no Tooth Fairy.
I'm not going to tell you that. I'm not. Because otherwise, they don't get any presents from Santa. If you diss the Tooth Fairy, you don't get anything from Santa. They're symbiotic. They work together. They summer in Uganda. I don't know. So anyway, this is kind of a small world though, because we found you for Our Stress Free, and really not because of your past. That was more of a hey, I know this guy, and it just kind of reconnected everything, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I ended up finding Colby Campbell Photography. I was like, hey, that'd be a good idea to get him on the platform. Literally, like the next day, hey, Andrew.
Yeah.
We got Colby Campbell coming on board.
I think that is so cool. I mean, just kind of a small world.
I think you guys separately messaged me within like an hour of each other. It was really amazing.
We specialize in stalking. I mean, recruiting and researching. That's what we do. But again, that kind of speaks to your quality of your work, of what you do. I mean, going through your reviews, looking at your website, looking at the amazing work that I was able to just pull some of the images from your site, and just the work you do is fantastic. So let's dial into actually why we're here. How did you get started in the world of photography? How'd you go from TC to pictures?
It's a long, painful story. If you want to go way back, I just thought it was fun, like high school. 15 years ago, I just like was picking up a little camera, a little digital like point and shoot Olympus camera. You remember those?
Oh yeah.
And I just thought it was fun. Went to UNI and actually started with the Northern Iowan, the school newspaper there, and I had a friend who worked for him. Was like, hey, you can come borrow a camera, like take some pictures of stuff around campus. It was like a little scavenger hunt, so I really enjoyed doing that. It connected me with people around campus, which I thought was really fun, and like building relationships and capturing student life and capturing all the energy that's on a campus like that is so cool. And so I kind of fell in love with it there. And then, gosh, I mean, that's been 10 years ago too. So it's been a lot of roller coasters since then of like, I've been doing weddings truly about 10 years on and off for different periods of time. And I just keep coming back to it because I just love the environment and all that kind of stuff. So for me, it's about connection with people. Is where it starts, right? I don't
100%. Absolutely. The connection with one of the things that we always talk about, part of the training that we have with Ultimate Entertainment is there is there's an energy, there's a vibe that just is there at every reception. And sometimes it's way up here, and sometimes it's here. But even if you tap into the one that's here, it's still an awesome celebration.
100%.
That just happens to be the energy of that particular family or both of those families. And that's that connection is so huge.
You got to be able to read people. You got to be able to build a relationship with them. You got to meet them where they're at, figure out what kind of celebration they want to have, and then you hype that up. That's exactly what it is. It's
so true. So you're based in Des Moines.
Yeah.
Obviously, you'll go about anywhere that someone's willing to pay you, I'm
100%.
sure. So
Yep.
photographers have the best gig. They're the ones that, you're having you're in the Bahamas? Oh, okay, I'll come shoot for you.
Yeah, don't mind if I do.
If I have to, fine.
I'm going to Orlando in August.
Oh, you poor guy.
I know, it's so rough. It's so rough. Colorado next year.
Do you need a second shooter or a tech guy?
Yeah, come on along.
I can be your tech guy. I'll be the guy.
I don't know that I can buy your ticket, but
just carry the bag.
You're happy. I'm happy to have you along.
Here's your lens, Mr. Campbell. Here's your lens, Mr. Campbell.
I'll be the boom guy here,
There you go. Perfect. Yeah. We don't use
we could be a
microphones,
documentary thing.
Boom's in the shot.
So let's talk a little bit more about that connection with couples. How do you what's kind of what's your process? What's your method for connecting? When someone first reaches out to you and you guys start that conversation, you start that dialogue with each other. How do you connect with couples? How do you kind of work towards that?
It's you act like it's a science that, or you're talking like I have a process, but really
you have a formula for exactly how that happens.
It's just I get them on the phone as soon as I can. I want to hear about them, and truly, I always walk into that first phone call. So somebody submits an inquiry, right? You submit the form on my website, and I ask for phone numbers on there so that I can just text you, because I feel like email just gets too in the weeds sometimes of oh yeah, we'll send you the packages or whatever. I just want to set up a phone call and let's chat through stuff really quick, right? So I text people. My goal is to text people back within 15 minutes of them submitting their thing on my website, just to establish that connection.
And that, even that starting point is huge, because when a couple kind of makes up their mind that, okay, today is fine photographer day.
Yeah.
They've all got kind of their checklist for how they're finding their vendors. And so when a bride reaches out and you respond back that quickly with a personal touch, with a text, it's not an autoresponder, it's not a pre-programmed thing from your site. That by itself will initially engage with the couple, that shows, hey, this guy actually cares enough to respond back. He's not just letting some bot do it for him. Right.
Yep. It's not an auto, and that's part of it, right? I want them to know that I'm here for you, right? You're going to text me, I'm going to get back to you.
Yeah.
I'm going to answer your question. And so I text them, I set up that phone call. The first phone call, I walk into it with the best intentions of having some kind of structure to the conversation, but we end up chatting through and I ask all these personal questions about the relationship. How'd you meet? When did you realize that you were going to marry this person? All that kind of super fun stuff that people love just talking about with a total stranger.
But that's important.
Yeah.
And they want to talk about that. Yeah. That's why they're celebrating. So you need to know that. Yeah.
And it's, in order to do what I do, I have to understand who they are. I have to understand when we go into our photo shoot, are you being authentic with me right now? Because if you're not being authentic in front of the camera, you're not going to feel like these photos are you. You're going to feel like they're my idea of of who you are, right? And so understanding the personalities, understanding the what makes people tick and what makes them like each other, what they connect about, is a huge part of the way that I work with them and the photos that they're going to come out with. If you are a super active couple who likes hiking and likes working out together, then we're going to go do that, as opposed to oh, well, let me just take you to this park by my house, right, so that I have to travel as little as possible because I know it's got good trees.
We're doing all your wedding pictures in my backyard.
It'd be nice. Hey, you know what? If that matches the couple, then come on over.
Whatever it takes.
You get lucky sometimes.
But I think and again, this is what sets a photographer of your caliber apart from so many other photographers that are out there. You're going to run into, if you're just price shopping, and you're something like that, or you go to, let's not mention them, but one of the national wedding platforms. There's two of them out there. I'm sure you've heard of either of them. Here's
One rhymes with the brat.
and the other one with Schmettingschmeier.
We're not going to mention them.
We are not, because we don't want to be tied in any kind of wire as a result of that. No, so exactly. But here's the difference is that anyone can be on that platform.
100%.
I have got. I think I still have. Do I have it back here? I do. See,
Props.
it's not even a prop. I have got, and I mean, it's dated.
That's a cute little guy.
But it's a nice little Canon, and at the time, this was top of the line when it came out. It is so dusty because it shows you how often I use it. Because it doesn't matter the expensive Wow, it is terribly dusty. Holy mackerel! It doesn't matter that I have this expensive camera. I suck at taking pictures, and so. If I have this expensive camera and I go on one of those national platforms, I can very easily make it look like I know what I'm doing. Because
you take the 5 best wedding photos that you took in the last 10 years.
Right?
You put them up there, and everybody thinks you're going to be able to do that
exactly
100 times for them on one wedding day.
Exactly. And then I can call 10, 15 of my friends, and I can have them write me nice reviews, and I'm in business. And if I spend enough money with those platforms as a vendor, my listing's going to be up at the top of the list.
That's
and sadly, most couples will go with it's the Google rule. If you're in the top 5 results of Google, you're probably one of the top 5 out there.
That's not how it works.
Didn't we?
Not at all.
Didn't we once talk with a photographer, videographer who said like he was spending $1,400 a month?
Yeah.
On that to get listed high.
Yep.
Insane.
Yeah, it's nuts. So just as kind of a side thing, if you've never gone to ourstressfreewedding.com, if you're just kind of watching this at random, which I know you are because why wouldn't you? What we do with our listings, with our vendors, is there's no one on the platform that pays more to be seen more. All of our listings rotate on a regular basis, and we're actually refining that search as we add more and more professionals to the platform. We're going to start breaking it down by county or by region. We're still kind of playing with how we're going to do that. So you won't have to see 150 photographers in one category. We will break it down a little bit more so in the Des Moines area. But for that, those listings will again rotate. So every time you log in, you're going to see somebody else first. And the reason we do that is because we're looking at all of the professionals that are on Our Stress-Free Wedding, as opposed to the national ones, are all with that pre-qualified classification to them. You don't need to pay more to be seen or to prove that you're good or you've got this expensive dusty camera. Your work speaks for itself. And what you've talked about, even just with connecting with the couples, and like you said, if they're outdoorsy people, let's go do some outside pictures. If they are 100%. Gym people, let's do some gym. It's stuff like that where you are now capturing their lives. You're not posing them in your conception of their lives, right?
Exactly. Yep.
I love that. Yep. I think that is so awesome. So, as you go through that process with them. So once they've so you're done with the kind of that initial text, those initial meetings. Accessibility. How accessible are you to let's say your client is getting married 2024. Right?
Yeah.
Next time you talk to them is probably not going to be, December 2023, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I try to check in with those couples who are super far out. I've got, right now I just got an inquiry for 2024. And so it happens that's a long time from now, but I check in once a month. Hey, how's it going? How's wedding planning going? I've got some milestones a year out from your wedding. I'm probably going to send you a little coffee gift card just to say, hey.
See, that's awesome.
Yeah. It's just something that, again, remaining connected to those people is super important. And I think having that relationship also, I mean, you were talking about like being able to trust your vendors and feeling like you have a relationship with them and they're not just going to show up and like exist and then not talk to anybody. I know that they are going to walk into their wedding day feeling like they know me.
Right.
Because we've connected for over, if it's 2024, for almost 2 years.
Right.
and feeling like I'm there for them. I haven't forgotten about them is really important. So yeah,
absolutely. And I would assume kind of that open door policy would be maybe a simple way to put it. That if they have questions, they have concerns.
100%.
I mean, they can reach out to you literally anytime. With thoughts, ideas, and you can kind of help them with that process. And that's one of the other things that couples really need to realize is when you're planning your big day. In most cases, this is your first time. There are some exceptions where maybe they're second, third, or fourth. That's fine. But you've done more than 2, 3, or 4 weddings.
True.
You've done enough that you are an expert in your field. Mm-hmm. And something that couples really that we really preach a lot, and that we're trying to really kind of to teach to people is lean on you. For that, you can help them with their timeline. You can 100%. Help them with concept ideas. You can help them with literally pretty much every aspect
I've
of
seen
their
it
day.
Done a couple of hundred different ways.
Right.
And so if somebody has a question, if you're like, I really want to try this one thing, or I really don't want to do this wedding tradition, but I've never been to a wedding that I didn't see them toss the bouquet.
Right.
Or I've never seen them like see each other before the ceremony. Let's process that. Let's talk about why you want to do it. I'm all for breaking the rules, right? I want to break the scripts of wedding days. I think it is fine when we do exactly the same thing at every single wedding, but every single couple is different.
Right.
Right. And so one of the things I emphasize and I stress with them in that first call is like, you do what feels the most authentic to you. You do what you value the most on your wedding day. And like, I'm here to help you make that happen. Right. And so let's work together to find time to like, if you two want to just like take 20 minutes and be alone, we'll find time for that. If you want to like, not do photos after the ceremony, you just want to go to your cocktail hour and mingle, that's great. We'll find another time to do photos.
Right.
Like if it's all about what they value. And now I've forgotten why I started going on.
Well, it's all about their day.
Yeah.
And there's so many photographers, wedding coordinators, wedding planners, DJs. There's a lot of them out there that will kind of imprint their thoughts, our thoughts on the couple.
Yep.
And what you just said has been, I think it's been brought up with everyone that we have had on the show so far. And it always comes back to, we kind of jokingly, not even jokingly, we sincerely refer to it as rule number 1. What the bride wants, the bride gets. Yeah. You can expand it out to what the couple wants, the couple gets. Either way, it is their day. It 100%. Is your job to take their thoughts, their ideas. I mean, I've had brides call me up. There's one actually for this weekend. She is just in a panic about what song she should walk down the aisle to for her ceremony.
Totally. Yeah.
And she's just really, really stressed out about it. And she keeps going back and forth and back and forth. Are people going to like this? Are people going to like that? And finally, what I finally got her attention with was, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. Here's the funny example is the DJ could play, Pink Floyd or Led Zeppelin,
right? And
the guests are going to go, oh, the bride's a Zeppelin fan. It's
exactly. Yeah.
They're not going to know. So pick a song that speaks to you. If you are a huge fan, if you're if you're fortunate enough, or if you're kind of more traditional, you have your dad walking down the aisle, and listen, you grew up watching SpongeBob.
Yep.
You want to walk down the aisle to SpongeBob? Go for it. It's your wedding. It's your day. Make it yours.
I joke with my wife that I should be a wedding therapist sometimes, because a lot of times what I do is I have a little link that I send out when a couple books me. It's like a little link to my calendar so they can set up a meeting anytime they want. You click on that link, you can put on my calendar. I'll get an email. We'll set up a Zoom call or whatever, or a phone call, or we'll meet up for a beer or something like that. And half the time when people do that, it's just like them processing exactly that kind of question, where it's like, my mother-in-law really doesn't want us to see each other before the ceremony, or really wants us to like do things in a certain order, but I don't really want to do that. And I'm like, then don't. There's no rules. Figure out what you value, think about what you value, and then do that.
Yeah.
And like, I'm here to help you make that happen.
100%. Yeah. And we can't say it. Go back, watch any show, any episode that we've had. I mean, we've got a lot of them. I mean, this is 13. I don't know if there's a number past 13. We're at like here
13 plus 1. Wow. It will be the next one.
Right, 14. Right, the next one, which that's Carolyn with CM Planning.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great show as well. But after that, I don't know if there's many numbers. I mean,
You'll run out eventually.
I know some people, and I'll ask them.
it's going to be awesome, and we're going to look it up. but every show, go back and watch any show. Pick any show that's on there, and you're going to hear any guest that we have talk about exactly that, how it is your day, it is your experience, and you deserve to have that kind of day. You're going to get, Aunt Betty with the best of intentions is going, well, you should definitely do the garter toss. A lot of brides right now aren't comfortable with the old school way of doing the garter.
Exactly.
They don't want someone climbing up their dress. Honestly, I blame years and years and years of creepy DJs. There's way too, you get get on up there. Like, oh, dude, come on. Grandma's right there.
That's the other beautiful thing about our stress-free wedding is this is all professionals who know how to navigate those spaces as opposed to, a part-timer with a little dusty camera who is going to just not know how to help you through that planning process. Is just going to show up and say, yeah, we'll get photos at some point.
Right.
No, we got to know when that's going to happen.
The platform, my original kind of concept of this, and this is something, I've been wanting to build our Stress Free for, oh my gosh. It's been on my mind for at least 10 years. And as the technology kind of evolved and as we kind of grew, as Ultimate Entertainment kind of grew, and I sat back and I watched some of the national planning platforms and just talking with couples and getting to connect with vendors more and more. And this is just my theory. This is just my thought. So I am not saying this as an expert, but I think the national planning platforms that are out there, I don't think they were built by people in the wedding industry.
I would agree with that.
I think they were built by marketers and damn good ones. They are really good at marketing.
They're making a lot of money.
They're doing great.
Yep.
If I can get a 16th of that level of success, I will die a happy man. But at the end of the day, I really, and again, just my theory. This is just my opinion on this. I don't think they were built. It was built by people in the wedding business because, like you said, anyone on the platform is going to have that same approach. That's part of what we look for when we're looking for other wedding professionals is, are you someone that will walk with that couple? And if the couple are total, do-it-yourselfers, cool. Then you're just going to walk alongside of them and do what they want as they do it. If they are looking to you for a little bit of guidance, cool. You can do a little bit of guidance and help them along. And if they go the completely, far end and they want you to take care of everything, you can do that too.
Yep.
That's
the puzzle piece. Yep.
Exactly. It's making that match. It's making that fit. And when you have your photographer, your venue, your caterer, your DJ, when you have everybody with that same attitude, that same point of view, you're going to have an amazing day by default.
Yep.
If you have nothing to worry about other, I tell brides all the time, on your wedding day, you have 3 responsibilities. You should show up. That's important. You should say I do at roughly the right time. Maybe pause for effect just to mess with your fiance.
Sure.
And number 3, look awesome. Be awesome. Just enjoy your day.
Have fun.
So many couples miss their day because they're so caught up in the little details. Are the napkins folded just right? And all of these things. No. Enjoy. Let the caterers take care of that. Let the venue take care of that. Whoever's in charge of napkins, let them take care of that. And when you have someone of your caliber and your ability as a photographer, you're going to really be their guide along with them through that process where they don't have to worry about it. Because I would assume, as you get to before the big day, you get a few weeks out, you probably start kind of putting down some timeline-ish ideas. Ish is my favorite word for weddings.
Ish.
Right?
Correct. Yeah, that's the right word.
Because it can be 4:00. It's probably going to be more 4:15-ish. If you throw that in, and trust me, when you're planning your wedding, if you throw the word ish after everything, you use it twice. You use it when you're initially kind of scoping out your day. You know, you're thinking, oh, I'm going to have, 300 people there. So let's say, everything will start at 4-ish and go to midnight-ish. Like, yeah, okay, cool. We can work around that. We can always adjust it. And then the other time that you use ish is the day of your wedding, because we can plan everything out. And I'm sure you've got a very solid kind of timeline that you can put in place.
Yep.
But that timeline's malleable, right?
Absolutely.
Everything's adjustable.
Yep. Got to be adaptable.
That's true. So you put the word ish after that and let someone like Colby take care of that responsibility for you. And then all you got to do is just kind of turn and smile wherever you need to go.
That's exactly right. You're along for the ride. Let everybody else handle it. You're along for the ride. You put in the work. You trusted people who know how to help you put this plan together, and you just you go where directed.
Yeah. Well, that's nod and smile.
You let somebody else tell you what the next step in the plan is, and then you don't have to worry about any of
Yeah.
that.
Enjoy yourself. I mean,
Absolutely.
you can actually be a guest at your own wedding and enjoy yourself, as opposed to constantly being on the move and, okay, now we got to do this next. Now we got to do this next. Like,
It's an amazing thing.
Yeah, it
amazing
is.
thing.
Hey, you're watching the Our Stress Free Wedding TV show, Our Stress Free Wedding Show TV show. We need a new. I'm still not content with the title yet. I'm not quite sure.
OSFW TV.
I kind of like Our
and-
Stress Free TV just because it kind of flows.
Our Stress Free
there you
TV.
go.
I like it.
Maybe just Our Stress Free TV. OSF TV.
Let us know in the comment section below.
We've never suggested that before. You should comment. I just got a haircut. You could talk about that.
You know what else they should do?
What?
Like and subscribe.
This is Andrew's big moment.
Beautiful.
Let's do it again. Ready? 1, 2, 3. What did you do?
Like and subscribe.
Like and
Work
see?
that right in. Just seamless.
He is a pro.
Amazing.
What would happen if someone, really enjoyed the show and wanted to follow up with more shows? What would they do?
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Turn on notifications.
Whoa. Slow down.
And they might have forgotten if you had not reminded them. So,
Right?
yeah, that's
And comment.
and comment.
We should add the comments.
Yeah.
Your mom's going
Tweet
to
at us. I
Does
think
your
that's
mom know
what people say.
to use the YouTubes to comment on that?
I think she does.
My mom would not. I love you, Mom. I know. I still get it doesn't play for me. Did you hit the play button? Wait a minute. Hey, it's playing. Okay.
Okay, perfect. You just needed to just give it a second.
Just a quick reminder as well. Don't forget, you can register right now for the Our Stress Free Wedding Show coming up on November 20th at the Waterloo Convention Center. Colby's going to be one of our vendors that's going to be there. It's going to be awesome. You'll be able to actually meet him in person. He's a huge celebrity, obviously, because he's on this show with our tens of people that watch us, which is growing by like and subscribe.
By the minute.
Just like and subscribe.
he might sign an autograph for you.
Ooh,
Maybe.
maybe.
See if I can get my buddy TC to come out.
Yeah.
Bring your kids. Kids love mascots. Or they hate mascots.
Or they're scared of
Or
them.
they're terrified of
One or the other, and there is no in between.
The wedding show is November 20th. It's the Our Stress Free Wedding Show. It is a vendor exclusive show. If you are watching this show and you are in the wedding industry and you would like to be at that show, but you are not on the platform, fill out an application with us. A vendor application. And we would love to talk to you. We'd love to learn more about what you do, how you do things. And I'm going to tell you right now that the conversation that we're going to have, if you're new, is a lot like this. It just won't be televised. It won't be recorded. But like the first time you and I talked, I mean, we
Yeah, it's true.
We really didn't talk a lot about, what kind of cameras do you use? I don't care.
Yeah.
I really don't. I care about your heart. I care about your connection. I care about how you treat your clients and how you make their clients' day amazing.
Absolutely.
That's what we're looking for. So, and we're always looking for more. There's so many talented professionals out there. We would love to connect with you. Go, please do. Jump on ourstressfreewedding.com. Catch us on Facebook at the Our Stress Free Wedding page there as well. Whatever you want to do, reach out. We would be happy to talk to you. We're going to continue our conversation, though, with our buddy Colby Campbell, photography, all the way from Des Moines. Just luck would have it that you have some stuff going on this weekend that you're shooting up in this part of the world.
Absolutely.
So we are so happy to have you here.
Always good to be in Cedar Falls.
Now, are you from Des Moines or West Des Moines?
So I'm from Norwalk.
Okay.
It's a south suburb of Des Moines.
People have gotten mad at me
I feel like I'm
before.
missing something important here.
Des Moines-ians are like, I'm from West Des Moines. No, you're from Des Moines. No, West Des Moines. I'm like, oh, okay, you're from West Des Moines. Sorry.
Really?
Yeah, I guess it's an entirely different
It
city.
is a different, and people get confused all the time. It is a fully different city. Its own city is West Des Moines. It's got its own city council. It's got its own utility. I don't everything. I live in Des Moines.
Just not a very original name at that point.
True. Yeah. The worst part is I currently live on the west side of Des Moines. And so the next question is always, so are you in West Des Moines? No. I said very specifically, I'm on the west side of Des Moines.
So you're almost to West Des Moines.
I'm almost to West Des Moines. I could throw a rock maybe.
Like one more block and you would be in West Des Moines. But right now you're just west of.
I'm on the west side of
West
Des Moines.
side of. This is very confusing. He's from the Des Moines area.
It's Des Moines. It's not huge even if you include the suburbs.
Des Moines.
It's a beautiful place. Des Moines.
You can find Colby, of course, on ourstressfreewedding.com. Go to photographers, type in his name, type it right, Colby.
Colby like the cheese.
Colby like the cheese.
Campbell like the soup. Photography like
you put them together
Instagram.
and what do you get?
Cheese soup.
Cheese soup.
Cheese soup. Can we maybe change my listing name in our stress-free wedding?
We can.
Cheese soup.
Cheese soup.
Photography.
Yeah, it'd be really easy. Go to the search bar, type in cheese. Bing. Don't
do that.
Colby.
Yeah.
Colby.
Cheese will not help you get there.
And something else that is really neat is that if you're watching this show on a normal computer on your desktop, everything, all the listings that we have with all of our Wedding Pros loads mobile friendly too, so you don't lose any information between the two. Andrew has become kind of the master builder of listings, of vendor listings at ourstressfreewedding.com. I'm going to build up his ego just a little bit so he continues to work for peanuts, which is a wonderful thing. But he is so
I love
good
that
at what he
show.
does.
It's a great show.
He's really good at what he does. So you're able to learn so much. And what we try to do with the platform is, unlike, again, the national listings that are out there, we don't limit the information that our professionals have on the site. We want you to learn as much as you possibly can about them. So if you go to ourstressfreewedding.com and you go to your wedding professionals, it's right at the top of the screen. I think it's the second link in on the navigation. You don't even have to be registered. You can go ahead and check it out. And just take a look at the different vendors that are on there, and you can scroll through. We've got video, we've got pictures, we've got all kinds of information on there. You can see reviews on there. It is designed to help make your day or your choices as informed as possible. We don't want just a paragraph and then hope that, I hope I made the right choice from that one paragraph. I'm good at weddings. They must be great at weddings. No, we want to actually.
Well, they said so.
Right? It's written down. Obviously, it's true.
People are trustworthy.
Everything on the internet has to be true, right?
It's true, yeah.
I think Abe Lincoln put it
Abe
best
Lincoln.
on his latest blog post. Speaking of the interweb, one of the things that I thought was awesome on your website is you've got a couple key points and some descriptions. So I'm going to put you on the spot and see if you remember the details on your website.
Up here.
I know, right? You should. But one of them that you talk about is connection, and just to kind of pull a kind of a semi quote from it, they're not just pictures of you. It's pictures of the way you connect with your partner, family, or the world around you.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that, and we've touched on it a little bit, but that connection. I mean, this is something that is obviously one of kind of your core tenets because you put it on your site, so it's a big part of who you are. Let's expound a little bit on that connection side.
Yeah, I mean, this is going back to the days at UNI when I was photographing people on campus doing things, right? It's always for me been about like a connection with a person and another person, or a person and the thing that they love doing, or a person and UNI athletics, right? It's that connection is where the sparks fly. That's where the good stuff is. I can take a picture of two people standing in front of me, looking at me with their hands at their sides. That's not a picture of their relationship, though. That's a like a thing that you put in the newspaper when you say that you got married.
Right.
So the photography for me is about capturing that energy, that emotion, that connection between two people. And if you're goofy, that's going to be goofy energy. If you're like really kind of like GQ type of like sultry people, that's going to look a little different. But that changes based on who you are, right? And so in order to like get that connection, that requires that I connect with them as people first.
And
right?
that goes back to that, like what we talked about at the top of the show, where we talk about kind of that vibe, that energy
Exactly, yeah.
that's there. As you kind of build that relationship with them through conversation, through connection, and meet them for coffee, meet them for beer. I think I think that's one of the things on your homepage you put on there, that you're a dog lover and a beer lover, which is
those are the core tenets of my business. You have to come to my house, drink a beer with me, and meet my dog. And if you don't have to do that, obviously, but
it's in the contract.
It's
you have to do that.
It is something that like I spend so much time talking to my wife Jenny, my parents. I give my parents more updates, I think, on my couples than I talk about my own friends who are like in my own wedding to them. They're like, "Oh, how's that couple doing? Who you shot photos of downtown last week?" And I'm like, "Oh man, they're doing so great."
But that's so cool though, because you really are, and when you talk about like capturing that energy, I completely. That just clicks for me, because there is such a difference between, quick picture, which is just a picture,
right,
or finding that energy, finding that light, finding that, you can photograph that love between a couple.
Yep.
That moment, especially for their wedding day like that, you can, a good photographer can capture that.
Can draw that out. And it's not about...
Maybe that's a better way to put it. Can draw it out.
It's not... I can't create that connection for you. I can't tell you what to do to make that connection like appear, but I can lead you to a point where that connection is going to show all of a sudden in a way that it's authentic to you. And that's, I don't know if I put this anywhere, though. It's something that I think about a lot, though, is when I want my clients, when they look at these photos, to be like, that captures me more than I have ever thought a photo could, right? Because we all take pictures of ourselves on our phones. It's a selfie, or it's a photo. We handed our photo to somebody else at a friend's wedding and said, "Can you take a picture of us real quick?" And that's a picture of you, but it doesn't feel like you.
It's a moment.
It's a moment.
Yeah.
It's a capture. But if you are having a good time, if you feel connected to your photographer, if your photographer knows how to draw that authentic moment out between like two people, then that's going to be more you than you ever thought a photo could be.
Well, and so much of weddings, and you have that kind of politician smile.
Sure.
Couples end up with the politician. "Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you." Because everyone's, "Oh, you look so beautiful. Oh, it's such a wonderful day." And it's just the constant, "Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you." And you get that, just that, the permagrin.
Yep.
And, someone like you can replace that, or help them replace that permagrin with I'm actually enjoying this moment, that this is actually a celebration. There's such a difference with a real smile.
Exactly. You hear people say like, "Oh, my cheeks hurt. I've been smiling so much at the end of the wedding day." But I'll tell you a secret. The reason people's cheeks hurt is because they're forcing that.
Right.
If you are genuinely smiling all day, your face is not going to be tired from smiling.
Right.
You'll just feel fulfilled. Right. And so part of getting authentic moments, getting that connection, is creating a real moment where you're actually laughing at each other, or you're actually like having that real actual moment. It's not just a moment I told you to fake, because then your face is going to hurt. Right. And that's how you're going to know it wasn't an actual moment. And so I've never gotten that comment, which is great for me, where a couple is like at the end of the day, like, "Oh, my face hurts. I've been smiling so much." And if I ever hear that, it might be the day I retire. But for me, it's about like creating those moments. And I have a very specific little, not a checklist necessarily, but like this bank of prompts, and this bank of like, words that I know that I can say, or tasks or actions I can give couples that it's going to open them up to like being themselves a little bit more together, and that's how I get that connection, that emotion.
He's a wizard.
Yeah,
This is magical.
It's mind control.
This is witchcraft right here. Yeah, I suddenly feel a very natural smile coming on, and I don't know how to handle that. So this leads into your next point, which is emotion. Yeah. And one of the things we were talking about this a little bit before the show as well, is that your preference is really kind of pictures in the moment, more the unposed, the organic kind of pictures.
Yep.
Let's talk about that a little bit, because there are difference in photographers where you get the posed, everybody stand with your hands, thumbs out, blah blah blah.
Yep.
You like that kind of, and I know if we're running any of the pictures right now, so many of them are clearly in the moment pictures. So let's talk about that.
So what I love to capture is the emotion of it, right? So when you look back at your wedding photos, you don't want to just see like the dress, you don't want to just see the suit or whatever people are wearing. You want to feel that emotion come back, right? You want your photos to transport you back to that day. And what I've learned is that emotion usually has motion to it. The photos that I think, at least for me, draw out emotions for me are ones where I'm not just like staring at the camera staring down the lens.
I've never heard that analogy before. I think that's cool. The emotions have motion to them.
They totally do, right? Emotions are moving. You say, I'm moved by something.
Yeah.
You want somebody to, or you want to walk into your own bedroom and see your wedding photo hanging on your wall and be like, man, that is moving to me. And you're not going to get that from like a static photo where you're just standing there staring down the camera. And so creating those moments, it's not necessarily candid, it's not necessarily posed, it's somewhere in the middle where there's movement that is directed, that has motion to it, and therefore because it's has motion and it's not something that I told you exactly what to do,
right?
It's not like my idea of what you two look like and what that connection looks like. That connection draws out the emotion. That is the emotion.
I have never heard it described that way from a wedding photographer. I think that is seriously, dude. That is awesome. And
I sit at home all day and think about it. So.
I'm going to solve all the problems when it comes to photography. But that is an amazing insight into your process and an amazing testament into your skill at what?
I'm still frozen.
Are you?
Good thing you practiced that. You're going to have to do it again.
Let's go back to the...
I totally forgot about it.
You just look like you're contemplating what I'm talking about.
You know what? We'll just keep it rolling. It's the Andrew Cam. We're
back.
All
right.
We're back.
All right,
we got it. So what I was saying is that, it's just... And mainly why we're going to do this is because I suck at editing. I'm so bad at it.
This is real life. You're getting the unfiltered.
This is
our stress. We're not going to stress about it. This
just like what you're talking about. We are capturing the emotion of our motion. Right. We're just not moving because of the motion. Wait, I got dizzy.
Motion of the...
I called it at the beginning of the show. Episode 13. Weird things are going to happen.
Yeah, we haven't started a fire yet.
No,
so stay tuned.
It's coming. So, I mean, it's just like what I was saying. It's just so cool because you are, it's not scripted. It's not completely random. Right. You're kind of guiding them in that direction. It's intentional, but not where they're aware of it. So you capture that natural feeling, and that speaks to your experience and your professionalism.
That's the difference, I think, between Joe Schmo with a camera who like does something. That's what you get with a professional, right? And so especially, so I have a background in education. I have a master's degree in higher education that I went and I had this whole separate career working with college students where my whole job, and this is another reason I think sometimes I feel like a wedding therapist, is because I spent so long sitting in my office with college students, like helping them process what their experience was and connecting with them and pumping them up and trying to like help them to grow and get from point A to point B. And so I bring all of that like people skill into being a photographer and coaching them down a road and coaching them into like being themselves and coaching them into learning more, or like being like realizing more about themselves than they sort of even realize they could be. That got really abstract for a second there.
That is perfect, because the next point you had on your website, in this kind of list that we had gone on, so we had talked about connection, we had talked about emotion, we had talked about kind of the adventure of kind of putting things together, in the moment, and then the last point you had on there was advocacy.
Yes.
And so you are kind of, let's dive a little bit more into, you've got the background, with your master's. You're working with college age kids, and the next normal kind of step of progression is grown up job, marriage.
Exactly.
So you've got a kind of a background in helping people transition into that next big step of marriage.
100%. Yeah. And being coaching them into being their own best advocate.
Yeah.
Right. Because, we talked about values earlier and, in planning a wedding day. And I feel like that's so much of what my student affairs background is like, hey, I'm going to be your own advocate and like advocate for you to advocate for yourself, so that when it comes to your wedding day, like this is exactly the way you want it to be. We're not going to do all those things that doesn't feel like it's authentic to you. And so I'm going to advocate for you when it comes to your wedding day. I'm going to be kicking people out of the room if you don't want them in there. Like, I'm here for you. That's part of my job as a photographer, is to help shape this into an experience where you it feels perfect, right? You get to the end of the day and you're like, there was not a single thing I would change about that.
And again, that goes to any of the professionals that you work with, from the DJ side, same thing. We are, I tell my guys all the time, our client, regardless of who's paying, our client is the bride. Right. Or is the couple. They are our most important people. If mom's paying, thanks for paying, mom. Greatly appreciate it. Love you. But I did a wedding a number of years ago. Mom, best of intentions. I mean, she was a very nice person. She loved old country. Now, I was raised on old country, 70s, 80s kind of classic country. I grew up on that stuff. I love country music. She loved old depressing country.
Achy breaky heart.
No, farther back, George Jones. He stopped loving her today. I mean, songs about drinking yourselves to death because you couldn't love that person anymore. I mean, all of these just really not appropriate wedding songs, right?
Yeah.
Her daughter was 22, 23-ish, somewhere in there. She loved top 40 pop. She's out there dancing and having a blast. So mom would come up to me every half hour or so, and when are you going to play my songs? And you know what? I will get to him, and I did. I would work him in as much as I could. Mom's an important person. Yeah. She's our number 2 most important person at the wedding. Goes bride's mom, groom's mom, groom. And most grooms are cool with that.
Absolutely.
Dude, just don't throw up or pass out. You'll be fine. But the mom finally, like the third time, she comes up, and this is back when people still paid, by check at the wedding, and she's holding the checkbook. Don't forget who's paying you. And I said, you know what? I appreciate it. Thank you for paying us. Appreciate that. By the way, Ultimate Entertainment is how you feel that out. I know your daughter appreciates that. And speaking of your daughter, and at the time, mom had her back to the dance floor, right? So I went to the other side of the equipment. So I'm standing next to mom, and I turned her, and I said, speaking of your daughter, look, just take a second and look. And here is this packed dance floor, bride in the middle of it, huge smile.
Breaking it down.
She is having a blast, surrounded by her good friends and by family members, and playing more top 40 stuff that maybe mom wasn't a big fan of.
Sure.
But what I pointed out to mom, I'm like, again, thank you for paying, but let's not forget whose day this is. So speaking of advocacy,
exactly.
It is our job as your wedding professionals to be the person to do that.
We create the day.
We absolutely. Yeah. Well, I think we build the day that the couples want us to build.
Right. Yes.
They're in control. It's our job to not let anybody else step into control.
Right.
You'll get the well-intentioned aunts. You get the well-intentioned.
We realize
parents.
their vision. They give us their vision. We're the ones who bring it to life.
So much.
Yep.
Absolutely. So my favorite kind of final questions that I always have with everybody. First one is always kind of a little cheesy. What's your favorite wedding moment? What's your favorite? You're shooting somebody's day. What's your favorite part?
Oh, I don't know that I'm going to give you a few.
Okay.
One is always a first look. Yeah. I love a first look. I love that for a lot of reasons. One, because it makes the wedding day a lot less stressful when we can do photos of everybody before the ceremony. And I advocate for that for couples too. And I tell them this. I could go on a whole tangent about first looks and why they actually want that, because after the ceremony, all you want to do is relax. You're in total relaxation mode, and you don't want me to have to pull you out and say, we got to do all your family pictures in the next 20 minutes,
right? Because
you couldn't see each other beforehand. So I'm a huge advocate for it. I've talked a lot of people into it, and they have never once said it was a bad idea.
Well, that is 100%, and that's something to think about. Again, going off a professional who has done, way more weddings than you will go to in your lifetime. He has professionally worked at in his career, even in the 10 years that you've been doing this, even so, that first look moment, if you've got it in your mind is, we shouldn't, let's do all the pictures afterwards.
Yep.
You're gonna want to relax and celebrate.
And it's one of those
afterwards.
One of those traditions that some people just don't care about, and if that tradition is not meaningful to you, if you don't value that, then why do it?
A lot of those moments I've noticed, like especially with this generation of couples, a lot of have you noticed that kind of a lot of the traditional
they're willing
stuff,
to break the script, which I love.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It makes it more theirs.
I love that. Yeah, and so that's not the reason I love it is because it's always such a tender moment, and there's like I love capturing that pure, just like that tender moment where I'm not telling them to do anything. like that energy, that connection is just happening. And it's this moment that they've been dreaming. They're putting a lot of weight on. And I love a first look because that's happening and there's nobody else around, right? They're not performing for anybody else. They don't feel like they have to tear up because everybody's staring at them as somebody's walking down the aisle. But it's just like, it's pure, unadulterated, them taking that moment in themselves.
Yeah.
And I also feel very privileged because usually I'm the only other one in the room who
Right.
gets to be there for it. And so that means that's very meaningful to me that they trust me with that. And so that's one. First looks with Dad, that always kind of puts a tear in my eye. I've cried into my viewfinder several times with First Looks with Dad. That's just because I am a aspiring stay-at-home dad, and that I just that's a moment in my life that, God willing, I will have someday. But yeah, I don't know. Those have got to be the top moments. I had one moment recently where, again, I had a couple who broke the script. They said, we don't want to see each other for the first time at the ceremony. We also don't want to do a first look. We just want to get ready together. And so they like helped each other get dressed, and like it was two grooms, and so they were like adjusting each other's ties and stuff. And I was just like, this is so sweet.
But what a special moment for them.
Why didn't I do that?
Yeah.
That was so, and to be able to spend that time, like they didn't feel like they only had a certain amount of time with their 30 minutes before the ceremony to like see each other and talk to each other. They had the whole day and all of their all their best people around them for a whole day, as opposed to just have to, I don't know. So I'm just like, all of those moments that are like, they're like, no, screw everything else. Screw what everybody else has ever done in their wedding. We just want to do what makes most sense for it. We want to do what we want to do, and we're going to do it. And
Their day.
I love that.
It's absolutely. I think that's awesome, and those are all just such powerful moments, you know. And it's those moments that, you know, like for me, it's always their first dance. You know, between that and the father-daughter dance, and only out of jealousy because I've only got boys. So I'm never going to get to have that moment. I am totally going to have a father-son dance, and I'm going to embarrass the hell out of my son.
As you should.
Exactly. I'm paying for it, and I get to do that.
Gosh darn it.
But, you know,
if you're not DJing.
Right. that'll be my luck. But you know, it's that first dance, you know, like to me, and mainly because I think from the DJ side, and just personally, music to me speaks everything. You know,
Totally.
Like memories to me, all of my memories kind of key in to songs, to moments. And so that first dance is a song that they've picked out together.
Yep.
And it is, you know, 3 minutes and 26 seconds of, no matter if you've got 30 guests there or 3,000 guests there, for that 3 minutes, it's just you guys.
Yep.
You know, just in there and lost in that moment. And now now couples are doing that last dance together, where they, you know, we empty everybody out.
Yes, I just saw one
and
of those
you do
last weekend.
just a last dance, the two of them. And what I always recommend to couples is do your first dance again. Same song, cap it. You know, because that way you've got it in front of everybody, and then you've got it with just the two of you guys. Because it's your song. You know.
Yes. Totally. And it's the moments where it's just between the two of them. Those are the ones that I think
so much.
Yep.
So much. Last question. So you've got a couple that really, 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 really wants to book you. They have, you know, they've watched this show and they're like, oh, this guy's awesome, because obviously they're fans of the show.
For sure.
Obviously.
Yeah. I've never met anybody who wasn't.
Right.
A fan of the show.
Well, you've met all three of us here so far. You know, but you've got a couple that really, 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 really wants you. Unfortunately, you are booked up. There is nothing you can do to fix it, to change it, to adjust it. You cannot shoot their wedding.
Sure.
What do you tell them? What should they look for in another photographer? What are the qualities?
That's a great question.
Thanks.
That's a great question.
My favorite question.
I have had couples move their date for me before.
Nice play.
Yeah, I will, you know what? If you want to get a photographer to do literally anything for you, I'm going to go to the moon for this couple, because they moved their date because they just wanted to hire me, and that means a lot. But
okay, so let me repaint my question. You aren't able to reschedule to a date that works.
They've already paid the deposit on the venue. What do I tell them to look for? Well, first of all, I'm going to point them to a couple of people who I really trust, who I know do a really good job and really connect with them as people. But it's everything we've been talking about. It's look for somebody who is going to put in the time to get to know you. It's look for somebody who isn't just on one of those national wedding websites, and is local and is willing to spend the time. and this is more of a technical recommendation, I say ask for a full gallery from a photographer that you're looking at. Have them send just a past couple's gallery so that you can see what a full wedding day looks like, because everybody puts their best 20 photos on the website.
Right.
But that's 20 different weddings.
But the full gallery,
But
like
the full-
the whole shoot
yeah.
from day,
You're gonna-
from
You're
start
going
to
to get
finish.
3 website photos in your whole day.
Right.
Right. Or website worthy, like stunner magazine type of photos.
Right.
The rest of them, the other 300,
Right.
might look different than that. And so you want all 300 to be ones that you connect with, that you really love, and aren't just like the one that you would put up on the website. So I say ask for a full gallery. Make sure you like connect and trust the person before you actually book with them, and read the contract. So you know what you're
That's a
agreeing
good safety measure, yeah. But again, it always comes back to the connection.
Yeah.
Make sure that you connect with them.
Absolutely.
And all of the qualities that we've talked about during the show, I seriously, this is, aside from some technical stuff where our cameras decided to make up their own minds on things, this has been an amazing conversation.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate this.
Seriously, dude. You've been a pleasure to talk with, and I think what we covered with you can hear the passion and the conviction in your voice for the excellence in your craft.
Thank you. Yeah.
And I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
You can learn so much more about Colby. All you got to do is go to our website, go to ourstressfreewedding.com. Click on the vendors, and it's Your Wedding Professionals is the link that you go to. And if you go to Colby Campbell, just type in his name, Colby. Type it in at the very top of the page and search, and he's going to pop right up right there.
Hit my inbox, baby.
Exactly. Message him. You can message him through our system. We've
Yep.
got a built-in messaging system. If you are registered on the platform, we have an internal messaging system set up to allow you to communicate with all of your other Our Stress-Free vendors on the platform. They've got to be part of the platform to be part of the communication system. And you can also use that for RSVP. So if your guests RSVP through the platform, you can actually contact them as well. And I'll give you a great example as to why you should do that. When all the flooding was going on, this is 8 years ago, when all the really big flooding was going on, we had a bride Saturday morning. Her wedding was that day, and I happened to be in the office early. And she called and she's like, "So my venue's underwater."
Oh, jeez.
I'm like, "Oh, okay. What do we do?" She's like, "It's cool." She had like an uncle or a family member who had a big old machine shed just like a mile or two up the road, higher ground. So
Sure.
she's like, "We're moving everything." And the only thing that really kind of sucked was she was going to have to literally spend the next 5 or 6 hours calling all
Everybody.
300 of their
geez.
guests and telling everybody, because you couldn't even put up signs because all the roads were underwater.
Sure. Yeah.
So they had to actually contact their guests and let them know, we've had to move.
Here's the address.
If she was on the platform, which at the time would have been impossible because the platform didn't exist, but had the platform existed at that time and the guest had RSVP'd through there, you could have sent a message out to your guests, one message, and everybody would have gotten the notice. Would have been simple.
Convenient.
That's what we're doing. That's what we're geared for. That's the goal.
That sounds stress-free.
Right? Wow. It's in the title. I love that. So, hey, thanks a lot for watching, guys. We really, really appreciate it. Don't forget, November 20th, our first official Our Stress-Free wedding show. We're going to give you lots more updates about that. We're going to have kind of individual specials running on the YouTube channel about that. And how's the best way for them to learn about individual things that pop up?
Like and subscribe.
Can you just see the light in his eyes? It's
Yeah.
like he knows he's like a puppy with a treat.
He lives
I get
for
to say
that
it.
moment. Do you live for that moment?
Yeah, I had my screen up, ready and
You
everything.
were ready to full screen yourself.
Go ahead, go back, take 2 again.
Do it again.
Go back to 2, and
Like and
there you
subscribe.
go.
Amazing. Smash that button.
Coming up next show, episode 14, Carolyn with CM Planning. She is a fully certified, nationally certified wedding planner. She's based out of Chicago. She's got some Iowa roots. Went to school here.
Yep.
And works out of Chicago, but loves to come back and work with couples right here in the great state of Iowa. It's going to be a great show. You're going to love it. Strongly recommend it. In the meantime, thank you again for watching, and you have a stress-free day.